Let's go!
So we got to talk about this. We got to talk about the only category I'm qualified to talk about it anyway. Everything else is just Max has feelings about shit. So this one I actually have a bit of criticism. I'm not naturally critical towards things, but we can actually be critical here because I would like to see some progress in a positive direction for the future of the fighting game category. And the good news is that there has been, like before, my dude, best fighting games. And what the holy dumb shit? Excuse me? Like, Sifu was nominated for best fighting game in a year where you could have nominated other things. Like, other games came out that year. All I want to say is we need to talk. Last year, I was kind of happy about the Marvel vs. Capcom collection being nominated for best fighting game of the year. Sure. Did I think it deserved to win that? No. It did not necessarily feel like a collection of old games deserved to win. And now, this year, we have two collections. I really hope that in the future of the Game Awards that another category can be added, which is for best remaster / collection, because it feels like there are so many of these now where games that go really hard into creating experiences that are so similar to the old game or adding on top of it or doing this kind of stuff. They aren't necessarily remakes, but they're sort of like re-envisioning of like a whole bunch of things or one big game that still is holistically the same thing. Final Fantasy Tactics would also be in that category. I really feel like games preservation should be a category that exists for the Game Awards because there's just so much of it now. The collection of all of the Fear Effect games or whatever. I don't know, like the Metal Gear collection, like it truly feels like we have so much of this over the past 3 or 4 years that yes, some of these games just don't ever get a chance of even getting winning anything because now it's like they're kind of bundled into weird things like this. Like Tactics is put into the tactical one, but still it's a little weird. It's technically a game from 1997, and now we have two fighting game collections that are quite literally nearly 30 to 40-year-old games that are here and spruced up in some ways, but what are we categorizing it on? The sprucing, the visuals, the online play? Like, there are so many different factors that go in here that sort of feel like, which one of these games really feels like everything is done right and everyone's happy, you know? Because last year, like, dude, the Marvel vs. Capcom collection would have likely won that category. And now we have a couple of games that are sort of put in here too. So anyway, I really don't agree with collections being put into here anymore because it is taking away from actual game releases. I don't give a shit about Hunter x Hunter. I never really have, and it's not a property that gets me, and I wished it the best success, but there was just not an opportunity for me amongst this year of crazy stuff for me to really get into it. And yeah, did it have problems? 100%, but absolutely brand new fighting games that came out this year that could absolutely have been nominated in some way. Does it have a chance of winning? No, but they are new experiences, dude. Like, they are actually new experiences, and whether or not it lines up with someone or something, yeah, like, we don't get a ton of fighting games throughout the year, but it should have been nominated. It should have been nominated over the Capcom Fighting Collection or the Mortal Kombat Collection, because these are older games. That was actually a new game. Is it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10? Sure, but who cares? Like, the amount of options we have are limited, my dude. I appreciate the fighting game category, but I think we need to have some separation. There needs to be some sort of level of separation between this stuff, between like these things in some way. Bleach could have been up here. A game I would have aggressively disagreed with when it came out as being like a great game, but it was a new game. It was actually a brand new game, you know? That being said, I would knock these two out of this category right out the bat. I don't think these deserve to necessarily win this just based on what they are as games and what they are offering in the fighting game space, you know what I mean? Next up, a game that I think technically counts is this one, because it is a new iteration. It is like a new version of the game. However, it is the 5th or 6th version of Virtua Fighter 5, the 20-year-old fighting game now, which is also a little like, ugh, this is in here almost by a technicality. It is a great rendition with new content, don't get me wrong, but like, I would not be visibly disappointed if even like the Iron Saga game took it over this, because that was actually a new game, you know what I mean? So this one feels like it's riding a very thin line. And then we have another game that is technically still in early access. If anything, I feel like there would have possibly been a clear year for 2XKO to really like compete and not have any weird asterisks or stuff like that. And this is only out on one system right now, has spent the majority of its time in like a beta format. People are still waiting to even play it. In fact, I think 2XKO is the game that likely will win this category. This comes with some weird caveats because like this sort of leans into the multiverses aspect of it, which is like, oh dude, no, like we should not be doing this again. I don't feel like this is ready to be put into like full contention. It's not done yet. Most people have not had a chance to play this shit, dude. It's like literally not technically out. That being said, there's only one game up here that is actually a brand new fighting game release and has elements in it that I clearly disagree with, has things that clearly did not give it the best light and led it to being relatively unsuccessful, quote unquote, not really finding the audience that it had, and things that really disappointed me and had me sort of disassociate with it. But I could absolutely acknowledge this game is fun as shit, dude. It does so much for me. Like, it has versions of characters that I think are the most fun versions of those characters straight up. And it has a visual style that I legit really agree with and I really like. Will everybody agree with that? No, but it actually is a brand new fighting game. Everything about it is legit a brand new game. Has a bunch of caveats and a bunch of issues, but the only thing up here that is a brand new fighting game is actually Fatal Fury. So I think Fatal Fury should be the one that wins. It's out and it released as a game. Could it have done with a lot of the bullshit that happened with it when it came out? Oh yeah! It certainly would have been nice if this just came out as a Fatal Fury game and not with all of the weird shit that was attached to it. That would have been nice. But we are where we're at, and I feel like Fatal Fury should be the thing that wins this because it's getting a lot better as time has gone on. It has gotten through massive changes since it first came out. So I don't know, dude. I feel like we have a lot of weird compromises in this fighting game category still. Once again, like, we need to have another video of like, we need to talk about the best fighting game category because things just sort of don't really make sense in some ways. To a certain degree they do, but in some ways they don't, you know? I would personally say Fatal Fury is the thing that should win this, but I do not think it does. I think 2XKO clearly wins it. And again, if we are to value the amount of a game's success, how much it has sold over the amount of player base, sales don't necessarily represent how good a product is or how a game is, you know what I mean? In some ways, like, yeah, when Under Night came out, could that have definitely won even though its audience is significantly less than the others? We're not judging this shit based on Steam charts and how much it NPD'd. We're judging it based on like what it is. Is it a game that executes its ideas, its vision, its visuals, its music in a way that makes sense and is good? Yeah, it kind of did that. There's do some things that piss me off. 100% it does. But at the same point, it's like some of these other games aren't technically like fully out yet or are just old games or all this kind of stuff. Yeah, 2XKO is technically still in early access. Most people only look at popularity. That's why it's my hope that whoever is nominating for like the best fighting game category, if you're out there and you're a judge that's doing this stuff, to understand like the perspective here, that I can understand why 2XKO would win. It would make a lot of sense for some people, but at the same point, dude, like Fatal Fury is the only actual brand new game. Like that is a full released game that came out fully released. There's always some very weird thing that happens in the fighting game categories in some way. Available to everyone to buy. Did everyone buy it? Definitely not, but still, it is what it is, you know?